If I was your best friend, I'd want you around me all the time. Can I be your best friend if you promise that you'll be mine?
So today episode 5, we want to talk about the actual path to proposal.
Yeah.
The path to proposal. So, I mean, I'm not going to even act like it was like this super elaborate thing, but one thing I will say, it was a super intentional thing. A very, 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 very super intentional thing. I still remember the moment when I started telling my family members that, like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to propose to Jazz. And everyone else was like, yo, for real, excited. Everyone, the person I thought would be the most excited, or one of the most excited people, was my grandma. And I call her Nanny. And when I went to go let Nanny know that I was going to propose to you, her only response was, I already knew. That was her only response. So if y'all don't know, which many of you don't, my grandmother is a pastor. And so she pastored for many years. And so, you know, she was the woman that I got my spiritual foundation from, the woman who I experienced the love of God from. And I was so blessed to have her, because a lot of times we'll experience like different cultures of church, and, you know, different scriptures, but not often do we experience the actual love of Christ, the love of God. Mm-hmm. And that's what she carried. And it was just so special. That love of God is so special. And I know that we try to understand God a lot of times with our head, mm-hmm. but my homie actually told me something the other day, and it really touched me. He was just like, bro, you know what was really the turning point in my faith? And I was like, what was that? And we've been homies for like almost 10 years now. Well, 10 years now, actually. And he said, man, when I brought one of my secrets to you, and it was like you didn't even flinch. I was just met with just pure love and sound wisdom. And he was like, that was the point where I realized, like, oh, this thing is real. Not just because you didn't judge me, but because what I received in return, it wasn't just support. It was something way deeper, and I felt it.
Yeah. And
that's what made me, that's what started me, jump started my faith as a young adult.
That's so good.
Or cemented my faith as a young adult.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was, you know, that touched me. He literally just said that to me for the first time yesterday, and we had a conversation. I was like, whoa.
Wow.
Like, that's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope.
Being loved without judgment is huge. And I mean, the most, as just listening to your conversation, the only way that it's been magnified that I've experienced is this.
Yeah.
You know, like, because we haven't always been the same version of ourselves, and we won't always be the same version of ourselves. But in every season, I still have to choose love.
Yeah.
Even if I don't like what you're doing, even if I don't like who you are, if I don't like what you've become, I still have to choose love.
Yeah.
And to be able to serve as an extension of that to just friends, you know, like, obviously friends with standards. Okay. Mm-hmm. But friends it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And I think both of us, we definitely emulate that. Like, there's no judgment here, you know, because it's like, I don't have no heaven or hell to put you in. But more than that, judging, it's kind of like how you say, like, an attitude does not help anybody.
Yeah.
Like, there's nowhere to go from that. So when you're casting judgment on people, there's nothing to do with that. There's nowhere to go from that.
Yeah, except for somewhere negative.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. Like, there's a difference of loving someone without judgment, mm-hmm. and just not judging someone, mm-hmm. right? Because love includes correction, and not correction in the sense of you need to do this correction, or you need to do that, but correction back to the standard. And what the standard obviously comes from is God's character. And if you don't have that standard, then it's hard to love, right? Because without a standard of love, mm-hmm. then it's hard to love, right? It's without a standard of excellence, it's hard to be excellent, right? So these things have to be defined for them to be accomplished, right? It's hard to accomplish something that can't be defined or that hasn't been defined. So I say that because for those out there who just automatically feel like, oh, well, I just don't judge this person. They can just live life however XYZ, but you see them going down a path that's destructive for them. That's not love.